In the second half of chapter 2, we see Christ creating a scourge of little cords and driving the money changers and the animals out of the temple. And his response to them is, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. So again, we have 3 days mentioned in this chapter. And he says in verse 21, he's speaking of the temple of his body. So we Catholics believe that the temple of God, the eschatological temple, the real temple of true worship, is the body of Christ. It's not a building in Jerusalem. It is the true body of Christ, which we receive in the holy sacrifice of the Mass. That's why also later on in John chapter 6, he'll talk about how we access this new temple, which is his body, and that is by eating his flesh and drinking his blood. And then one more observation at the very end, verse 24, but Jesus did not trust himself unto them, for he knew all men. This right here tells us that Christ is not confused about who he is. This is something that heretics in our time teach, that Christ didn't know who he was. He kind of came unto himself, or he had an existential crisis in which he began to realize that he was the Son of God. No, Christ knew he was the Son of God from the very first moment he entered the womb of the Immaculate Virgin Mary, and he knew all men. He already knew the thoughts of all man. Verse 25, for he knew what was in man. So here we see that Christ can work miracles like God. Christ is the temple of God. And then Christ is also the judge of all men. He's omniscient. He knows all things.